Okay, in this video what we're going to talk about is something called score codes. We're going to look at some of the other default settings, and that is found under your tools, preferences, and I think on a Mac it may be found under the edit menu. I'm not 100% certain. But let's look at tools and preferences. And the comment bank here will be loaded from what was in ESIS, and then you'll have the ability to add additional ones if you want. Excuse me. Grading. I think it's district policy. You want to round, and I want to store calculated grades with up to so many decimal places. You can set that. Final grade and attendance columns will display. You can leave that all default. This is a mail signature, which we'll talk about. You can put one in here. We're working to set up the mail features. We've got it configured, but we need to mass load in the parent email addresses. Score codes is an area that you can kind of be neat here with what you do. You're going to have the ability to do the regular grade scale, A plus, A minus, etc. But when you have a student that is absent and their absence is excused, maybe you want to exempt them from an assignment. And the best way to do that might be to create a score code for that. So let's add one here, and I'll show you later on where that comes into play. So if I create an ABS, and I'm going to call it absent exempt, and if I check that as exempt, what it's going to do is anytime I give that as a score for a student, it's going to exempt them from the points possible. Okay, save that, and let me just quickly go back into preferences and look at some of the other options. So choose the identifier to use on the class list, section period day, or just the section number. That's just whether you want to display it that way. And then this is choose the name used to distinguish sections in the class list. You can do the course name or the course display name. Now if I choose course display name, what's going to happen is I have the ability to, instead of saying intermedia 1, I might call this, you can rename it and give it a custom name. I can't think of something off the top of my head here, but you can do that. So I'm going to do course name, spell check. You can add words to the dictionary. That may help. And standards, we're not doing anything with the standards at this point in time at the junior high and high school in the grade book. And then students is student name display. Do I want to display last name first, first name last, first middle initial last? Do I want to use a preferred name when I put something in there? So if Johnny wants to be called John, I'll show you where that can be changed in a minute. And then sort students by last name. You may want to change this to say teacher defined order. And let me go ahead and change that, and I'll show you where that takes effect. So if I click OK, and I go to my student info tab. For this particular class, I have my students, and I have these different fields here. Because I've chosen my order is my custom order, I've got it ordered this way, and I can take, and if I don't want it sorted alphabetically as it is, I can take a student, click on that in that column, and I can drag them up. I can drag the Padilla down. I could drag Donald Duck to the top. Okay, and then I save my order. You can do that till you're blue in the face. As soon as you leave and come back in there, the order will not stick unless under Tools, Preferences, and Student you have set the sort order to be teacher defined. If this says last name and it's set that way, it will let you change the order right here and save it, but as soon as you leave and come back to that class, your order is going to automatically be back to the last name. So if you want to specifically move kids around their order, you got to make sure under Tools and Preferences, Student tab, that you have Sort Students by set to Teacher Defined Order.